Hey you guys, it's Lula. Today is day 24 of the 28-day challenge. Today's topic is indecisiveness. Indecisiveness. She be but a distractor, isn't she? Always distracting us. But let me tell you something. Indecisiveness is your own doing. Indecisiveness is when you're not grounded. Indecisiveness is something that most of us struggle with in at least one area of our life. Indecisiveness. She be a debilitator. Distractor. Because if we keep running from who we are and what we're supposed to do, because this emotion that was like bred into us from sadly, a lot of our ancestors who are also being put on with fear. Indecisiveness is the unknown. A lot of times, indecisiveness actually comes from a form of control. And part of that control is when we don't take control. And indecisiveness has many facets, because there are some people who are indecisive because they want to control everything. They want it to come out exactly how they envisioned it. And if it doesn't, they're going to be extremely disappointed. And that's not the way it is. And blah, blah, blah. And so they just do nothing. And they're like, well, I'll just let fate decide. Or I'll let this happen. Or I'll let that happen. Or I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. This was a huge thing with my partner and I. It literally got to a point around our 3-year mark where I was like, I'm not trying to be a dick. I was just like, how do you not know? You know, I'm like, if I'm asking you something like, do you want steak or chicken? I don't know. Well, I'm not going to eat it. I don't even eat meat. And I was like, I was like, I'm not being a jerk. I was just like, that's ridiculous. How do you not know? You either want none of them or you want one over the other. And I was just dumbfounded by this. And I said, you know, this is a common thread I'm seeing throughout my clients and friends and family. It's all different levels and all different types of indecisiveness, but I'm seeing it more and more and more. And I think a lot of it is because of the vibration on the planet right now, with everything being so, people are like, I don't know, because if I go this way, what if this? And it's like, because they're not grounded and they're not present. And that's what I said to my partner. I was like, when I met you, I'm like, you were so grounded. But we've both been through a lot. We've both suffered the loss of a parent. We've both been through a lot of mental and emotional anguish going through our past life stuff while we're going through our awakening. And it's affecting us completely different, but both significantly. And so I found that one of us was, you know, I'm like, should you make the decision? Should I make the decision? And then I said, if I'm always making the decisions, it's not fun for me. It just becomes like work. Like I'm constantly having to think for myself and another person. And, you know, the beautiful thing is by talking about it and really working through it together through our own stuff, it's really helped me to come out to the other side of it. And yesterday I was at the grocery store and I was like, it was after my session. And after my session, I'm either like really, really grounded and I feel so good because it's like this really awesome experience. Or sometimes if it's a lot of energy, I need to like go home and decompress and like be in my environment and kind of smudge myself and go through that whole thing. But because the Trader Joe's was so close to their house, I was like, well, I need food for Dolly, blah, blah, blah. And I ran in there and it was busy. It was a Sunday afternoon and I was like, oh, and I couldn't decide. I was like, what do I want for dinner? I was like, and all of a sudden I was just like, whoa, I was grabbing things. And then I made myself stop because I was like, get grounded, take a breather, go in the bathroom if you need to, just take a breather. And I did. And I just took a minute and I was like, I'm like, do I want this? Do I want this? And then I was like, no, I actually have this at home and I have that at home and that's going off and I should probably, eat that. And then before I knew it, it was like, yeah, I was cool. 1, I didn't overspend. 2, I thought about what did I really want? What would satiate me on every level? Because when I do an intense session like that, like I need that. Like I need to like get back to me. I need to get grounded and centered again. And sure enough, my body told me exactly what it needed. And I came home and I relaxed and I had my food and I felt good. But being grounded is imperative. And we have to be present. I talked about this yesterday on the past lives. If we're living in the past or we're living in the future and we're not looking at right now, that's why we're unhappy. And the irony is we think that by holding on to this image of this dream that we're going to be so happy. But the thing is, in our human mind, we become very limited. And when we're limited in our human thinking, when we're limited in this stagnation, this stagnant place of mind, of a vision of what we have, and we won't break and we won't falter from that vision, then we can't allow our higher selves and spirit to give us exactly what we need, which is always going to be so much better than you could possibly even imagine. That's the beauty of it. That is literally the beauty of being present and going with the flow. And I do it too. And every time I find myself getting out of control or going into this place where I feel like I need to control things, like, the other day I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm going to Chicago, soon. I'm like, am I going to drive? Am I going to fly? And because my human brain and also my family and friends, a little bit of pressure. When are you coming in? What day is all along? I'm going to be doing this. It starts to feel, where I know that most people right now on the planet in August 2018 do not run on the same frequency as I do. And it's difficult for all of us because I understand that they're not ready to shift their mind or their thinking or they're not ready for that right now. So they want me to, fit into a conformity that makes them feel more comfortable. It's hard to do because it's hard to accommodate everybody, especially when accommodating myself is number one. And how I accommodate myself is living in the moment. It's interesting. Recently, I kind of had this discussion with Spirit where I was like, well, okay, so I'm allowed to plan ahead for this, but I'm not allowed to plan ahead for that. I'm not, the irony was I was really, really concerned because in one of my meditations last week, I was saying something to Spirit about the wedding, and I was kind of like, just like, give me a hint, like, because I can't help it. I can't help it, right? I'm still trying to just know. I just need to know. My human brain is laying there, and it's thinking, and it can't sleep, and I'm trying to calm it with meditation and stones and crystals. I'm raking myself, listening to music. But my brain goes there because I'm like, well, but this is a given. I'm like, I have to be in Chicago in October for my niece's wedding. And then a very disturbing thing came back to me, and one of my spirit guides said, no, you don't. And I was like, okay, well, but I want to be at her wedding. Like, that's my little Petunia. She was my very first niece, nephew, she was the first one. And, I love them all equally, of course, but it's like, number one, I would never miss any of my nieces and nephews' weddings. And number two, I was like, no, I really need to be there. It's like part of my family. Like I want to be there. And it was when I kind of worked that out with Spirit said, you don't have to be there. And it gave me, I love how the camera just did that because it's true. It gave me food for thought. You don't have to do anything, but what you do need to do for yourself, not have to do, but what would be helpful is to help with being indecisive on how to make decisions on everything in your life, is getting grounded, getting quiet, listening to Spirit, listening to yourself. It's your higher self. I say Spirit because I know it's my higher self. I also know it's other things, other deities, whatever. I don't even know. I mean, there's so many, I'm trying not to label things, even though that's incredibly difficult, especially on this planet and the languaging that is used at present time. So, the indecisiveness comes from not centering yourself, not aligning yourself with the rhythm of your soul and the rhythm of the planet. Because if you just let the rhythm of your soul and the rhythm of the planet dance together, you're going to like dance the most magnificent dance you've ever danced in your life. And you'll be like, why did I try to control it so much? You know, I'm actually falling in love with Big Camper, and I never thought I'd say that. And Ed and I are really finding our groove. Now, however, winter is coming. All Game of Thrones. Winter is upon us. We understand this, but that's why we've been like, you know, really like gutting Big Camper and working on her so that we can both be in here without, you know, wanting to hurt or maim each other in any way. But you learn to work with things. We realized that we loved each other and that our love for each other was stronger than not being together. We realized that it wasn't our relationship that was off balance or out of alignment. It was that we ourselves were not in alignment. We're not, you know, walking our true path. And we both had to present each other with a lot of things and say, hey, this doesn't work. Hey, this is good. This is, and I'll tell you, we had a lot of moments that were not easy. But I wouldn't trade them for anything because it's made us both who we are today. We are both stronger healers. We are both better beings, light beings, human beings, prophets, shamans, whatever you want to call us, angels. We are better for it. Witches. Our magic is stronger. We're manifesting the things that we need. We're taking it bit by bit. We're not biting off more than we can chew. We're not making rash decisions. We're going slow. Yes, of course. That land, I know that she's waiting for me. I know that land is waiting for me because I want to have 10 acres. I feel like 10 acres is a beautiful amount. If more comes, and that's what my higher self and spirit wants, and that's great. But I do want to build a place, a spiritual retreat where people can come and work with me and other healers, you know, where I only have like maybe 13 people, little coven of healers that live and work the property, that help give back so that people can come and do their healing, so that people can come and awaken to their true self, so we can hold their hand and guide them and love them. And pull them out of the indecisiveness. Because truthfully, indecisiveness is rooted in control. And I know this because it's my own demon. It's my own thing I've had to deal with. And it is from friends and family who know my family that, you know, are like, you come by it honestly. I mean, it's nothing against my family. I mean, it's just the way that it is. On both sides of my family, there was a lot of controlling going on, a lot of tug of war, and I'm right and you're wrong, and this is the way it has to be, or this is the way it is, and there is no other way. And so, you know, some people call it a Midwestern upbringing, and I know a lot of my friends and family do. That is an affliction. I don't want to say suffer because not all of them are suffering, but it is an affliction that I know is harder on some than others. I could tell it's going to rain. Isn't that bizarre? When I was younger, I was a competitive gymnast and cheerleader, and mostly cheerleading with gymnastics. And I really messed up my wrists quite a few times. And every time it's about to rain, this wrist in particular starts to like ache. It's kind of cool. And it's like, oh, it's going to rain. Anyway, I digress. But yeah, you know, I mean, and so that kind of stuff, if it comes to you naturally because that's just the way you were raised, or that's what, you know, then you have to break the pattern. There's this really great thing that's been going around lately. One of those quotes, you know, when it was talking about like, you know, you got to be like your ancestors or whatever. And people are like, no, fuck the patterns. Like, I'm going to change it kind of thing. And they're not saying fuck the ancestors. I think it's more of a, you know, you know, it's like that old saying, if you give what you always gave, you'll get what you always got. And it's the same thing. It's like, you know, it was good enough for my father, it's good enough for you. Well, I mean, those kind of things to me are just, they're mind-boggling because each person is an individual. We're not meant to be clones of each other. We are meant to be our own person. We are meant to be individualized. So if you think about it, what is your indecisiveness coming from? Who's making your decisions for you? You. You are solely responsible for your life and your outcome. It is absolutely positively nobody else's choice but yours. Only you know what makes you happy. But getting quiet and getting grounded, meditating. And I know another thing that was hard for me was I was consumed with alcohol, marijuana, food. I would get into these comas. You know, I remember I was in this pattern where I was drinking all the time, and I was just drinking to survive. And then I would wake and bake and go through my job and go through my life, and I was half awake. I was just half awake because I could not handle, I knew I was meant to do something so much greater than I was doing, but I wasn't sure exactly what it was. And I was so fucking ungrounded. And I've spoke about this before where I had several, and I mean several people on a regular basis for almost 2 years that would say to me, oh, you're so ungrounded, or you need to get grounded. And it was like, get grounded, get grounded. And I just was like, oh, I wanted to punch people. But man, they were fucking serious. You know, it's no fucking joke. And now it's like, you know, I put my moonstone in the full moon last night. Like when I took my jewelry out from the full moon last night, I was like, whoa, like they feel heavier, you know? And it's, you know, it's taking care of myself. It's being me and being grounded and taking my shoes and socks off and walking around barefoot and making a point to be in a place in my life that I can do that. You have to build your life from the ground up. You can't get from here to there without going through all the stuff in between. You learn nothing, you get nothing. And if you keep doing the same things over and over and over, that's the definition of insanity. So of course you're going to be crazy and you're going to feel spun out and your life's going to feel like it's shitty and that you're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Yes, you do. You need to calm down. You need to get grounded. You need to connect, meditate, get grounded. I'm like going in, get grounded. Ooh, do you see that rainbow? That was cool. Get grounded. It's imperative. And don't listen to other people. That's another thing too. That's a killer. Because when you're indecisive and you ask for other people's opinions, they're going to fucking give them to you. You know, and it's funny, Ed fought me for the longest time, and I just said, babe, I love you, but I'm like, I can't be with you if you're going to, like, be like that. I can't be with somebody who literally says, I don't know to everything. I'm like, don't you think that's a little unnatural that you're 46 years old and you don't know what you want? You don't even know what you want to eat? That, to me, was, like, really groundbreaking for him, for me, for us. And again, I wouldn't have had it any other way, you know? We needed to, like, have that connection. We needed to, you know, understand that. To, like, really grasp the concept of what does I don't know mean? It's so much deeper than the words. I don't know means I don't know who the fuck I am. I don't know what I want. I want X, Y, and Z, but I don't know how to get there. But the thing is, you got to take that moment to get quiet with spirit. You have to get quiet and you have to get centered. You have to be so quiet. You have to listen. And the ego is a tricky, tricky animal. The ego can really fuck with it too, because that is another part of the indecisiveness, because our ego comes into play. And our ego thinks that they know better than our higher self, which is ridiculous. And you're just going to keep learning the same lessons. You're going to keep coming back. And it's like I say to people, I'm like, you want to keep coming back and learning the same lessons over and over? And some people do. You know, I don't get upset. I just realized I didn't put a brush to my hair. I was like, shirt, jacket, hat, cool, let's go. Because I'm like, I need to talk about this. I had 4 hours of sleep. That moon kept me up all night. She got me thinking too. And I was thinking a lot about the indecisiveness. And now, when one of us are indecisive, Edward and I, we're like, what's going on? Are you not grounded? Are you tired? What's, you know, because sometimes I'm like, I'm just tired, babe. Can you just decide for me? And I think that's a legitimate request, because he can say no, and then I can decide for myself or not. And 9 out of 10, we'll do something funny, like, you know, with movies, you know, we'll put it behind our back, you know, like this. Then I'll be like, okay, stop. He'll be like, right one, left one, you know. We let spirit decide. That's the best way to go. I do that with my necklace, which also duels as a pendulum, you know. When I'm tired and I don't really feel like really digging in deep and my intuition isn't kicking in, or I'm just really depleted, I'll just say, show me yes. Show me no. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Spirit. Am I surrounded with light and love right now? Yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Is it in my greatest and highest good to ask questions of the pendulum right now? I heard, oh, for display purposes only. Oh my gosh, you guys are so funny. Okay. So funny. Is it in my greatest and highest good to go back to sleep for a little while after this video? Yes. I think so too. I could barely keep my eyes open. So sometimes, but we can't use this all the time. You know, when I started working with spirit, and I knew I was a psychic, and I mean, I've always known I was psychic, but when I really was going to start learning how to use my gifts and what to listen for and all that good stuff, I used a pendulum. And then I got so dependent on the pendulum. And then it was a powerful, wise witch who said to me, she started laughing and she goes, Lula, do you think you can't change that pendulum's direction? She's like, you're one of the most powerful witches I've ever met. She's like, that's great. She's like, but I really hope you're only using that, you know, and listening to that. She's like, when it's, I forget the word she used, but basically it was saying like, with good intention, you know, she's like, because if you really want an outcome, you're going to get it. And it's true, because I have worked with some healers that, like, I had this one healer who taught me the thing, and I watched her and I could tell, like, I'm like, oh, you fucking liar. I was like, when she wanted something, it was this, or, you know what I mean? Like, it was yes or no. And I was like, okay, well, you can bullshit a bullshitter, but you're really just bullshitting yourself. So I feel like with the pendulum, sorry, I just had to keep it real there. So I feel like with the pendulum, it's a great divining tool, but it is not meant to like be a set of tarot or, you know, to use as your psychic medium. In my opinion, you have the gift. You just have to really connect and listen to those voices. It has taken me a little over 3 years to really, really hone this craft, and I will never stop honing this craft, and I will get stronger and I will get better. I still have a lot to learn. But you know, it takes time. And that's the whole point. Everything takes time. So the indecisiveness, just let go and let God, goddess, whatever your, you know, deity is, just let go. Let go and let life show you what is in front of you. You know, you have to take the chances. You have to take the risks. Without great risk, there is no great reward. It's just true. It's just factual. I'm exhausted. This is way too long. You get the point. I love you guys. Have a blessed day. Only got 4 more days until the end of my 28-day challenge. This is just so exciting. So today 23 or 24? Oh, I'm so tired. It's time for me to fly. Have a blessed day. Get grounded. Get centered. Get quiet. The answers lie within you. Yeah, I say I'm a healer, but so are you. We're all healers. I'm just here to help you figure out a way to heal yourself. Just here to remind you who you are. That's it. That's it. Just a little archangel witch here to remind you who you are. Peace, light, and love be with you always. I love you. Blessed be. Oh, I'm going to sleep.